Hello everyone. Now you will hear a brief retelling of the movie Inside. Enjoy the movie. Nemo, an art thief, tells the tale of his early years. Nemo gave his sketchbook, his cat, and his AC/DC album as the three items he would preserve from a fire in response to his teacher's question. After the cat passed away, he gave the record to a friend who never gave it back, but he kept the sketchbook because, as they say, art is for keeps. Nemo is dropped off by helicopter on the roof of an opulent penthouse in New York City, and he cuts through security netting to get into the property. He then waits for the codes needed to turn off the security system to be given to him by his accomplice. Nemo now has 7 minutes to pilfer the pricey artwork that adorns the flat, but his primary objective is to locate a well-known self-portrait that is worth millions of dollars. But Nemo finds no self-portrait in all the rooms he searches, so he gives up and takes the paintings that are offered. Unfortunately, his accomplice gives him the incorrect code, setting off the security system. All exits are automatically locked, and an alert sounds. In a frantic attempt, Nemo smashes a random ornament against the window, but the glass is impenetrable, and forcing the door also doesn't work. Nemo takes the screen from the wall and destroys it before the alarm drives him insane, but all it does is cause the air conditioner to break. Nemo then moves some furniture around in order to climb on it and destroy all of the wall-mounted cameras and sensors, which ultimately silences the alert. Nemo's next strategy is to use a blade to sever the front door and create a hole so he may escape. He begins to feel really hot while working as a result of the damaged air conditioner. When Nemo gets to the kitchen, the burners and the faucet are out of commission. Next, he examines the refrigerator, which contains an AI that alerts him to missing goods and plays Macarena if the door is left open for an extended period of time. Nemo takes a sip and goes back to work on the door, perspiring profusely since the air conditioner is increasing the temperature of the room by the second. Nemo is horrified to discover that the door has a metal plank underneath all the wood after it has been battered quite a bit. He uses the walkie-talkie to try to get in touch with his accomplice once more, but there's no response. He's been abandoned entirely. Nemo attempts to settle down, knowing that his owner is on vacation and won't be back for a while. He attempts to watch TV after getting some vodka and food from the refrigerator, but it isn't functioning properly because it is also linked to the malfunctioning system. Nemo finds the security cameras by channel surfing, but it's late at night, so the receptionist is the only person in the area. Nemo then retires for the night on the big bed. The following morning, Nemo hears a helicopter and rushes back to the living room, but nobody sees him even when he gets close to the window. As the heat increases, he decides to cool himself in the little pool that is accented in the living room. When his accomplice still doesn't respond to his messages and the department's phone is broken, Nemo tries, ineffectively, to find new possibilities by opening drawers. He uses the restroom to urinate and finds that because there is no water running there either, he has to put up with the stench. He attempts to toss ornaments at other windows, but those are as indestructible. Nemo ponders for a minute before realizing there is a skylight on the ceiling when he eventually glances up. Nemo starts constructing a scaffold right away by moving furniture beneath the skylight. He barely takes a break to change into lighter clothing and take a shower at the pool because the heat is growing stronger. He attempts to sip from the pool, but he can't stand the flavor. Nemo discovers a little garden with sprinklers during a break. He plugs the holes, but nothing emerges. He looks inside the fish tank as well, but the water tastes too bad to swallow. Nemo grabs the ice trays out of the refrigerator and starts gorging on each ice cube until there are none left. He is becoming thirsty. Then he resumes his work, tying the scaffold together with remnants of fabric from the furniture. The construction gradually expands, but he still can't reach the skylight when he tests it out, meaning he still has work to do. Nemo frequently takes pauses to allow his body to recover. During these moments, he regularly looks at the surveillance cameras and draws in a notepad. He thinks Jasmine, the cleaning lady, is adorable when he sees her on the stairs one day. Nemo eventually runs out of food in the refrigerator and resorts to cans, only to find that he must open them with a knife because no can opener is in the home. He had to use pool water to clean his accidental cuts and a piece of his t-shirt to bind them. When the heat becomes unbearable, Nemo sticks his head inside the refrigerator to lick the remaining ice and take in the cooler air, all the while having to put up with Macarena. Later on, he finds a closed door and uses a piece of furniture to enter it. Inside, he finds a pantry that gives him access to more food alternatives, including meat. He dashes to the garden when he hears a disturbance, and he's relieved to see that the sprinklers are on a schedule. After consuming as much water as possible, he simply lies down in the mud and allows the water to revitalize his weary body. Nemo is compelled to utilize the bed and the curtains as his final resort because the scaffolding construction is ongoing. When he eventually makes it to the skylight this time, he finds that it is set into the ceiling, so he will need to find a way to open it. He starts drawing the individuals he sees on the security cameras that night, and Jasmine is always his favorite. When he sees that Jasmine needs to clean the hallway outside Nemo's apartment that evening, he dashes to the door to beg for assistance. Regretfully, Jasmine is unable to hear him because she is using her headphones to listen to music. Nemo finds the flat growing cold and that the AC is suddenly acting up the other way once Jasmine departs. Life in the building carries on as the days go by. After breaking the mattress, Nemo starts sleeping on a mound of bed linens. He also arranges many pots in the yard so that the sprinklers will fill them every time they are turned on. Nemo is keeping himself occupied with these small pursuits, but he is also beginning to go insane. He even opens the refrigerator and starts dancing to Macarena music one day. He then takes the remaining bottle of booze and the caviar jar and drinks them by the pool while continuing to sing the song, feeling almost like a king. The following day, Nemo smashes a vase and makes protective eyewear out of the broken pieces and cloth. Then, in the hopes that this would be his way out, he starts to chip the frame surrounding the skylight. Food-wise, things are becoming more complicated. Dishes are stacking up without water, and some foods cannot be prepared without burners. Nemo soaks the hard pasta in water for a whole day to prepare it. While it's not very tasty, it's at least edible. Nemo occasionally converses with himself while preparing food. Another everyday pastime of this is watching the security cameras. Eventually, Nemo picks up on the names and habits of every employee in the building and starts chit-chatting with them whenever he sees them on the screen. In order to feel less alone, he also utilizes a telescope he discovered to spy on his neighbors. Nemo finds out after spending a lot of time working on the skylight that there are hefty bolts underneath the cement, so it will be a future issue. When Nemo awakens one morning, he finds that a portion of the vase is reflecting sunlight, leaving a stain on the wall. He chooses to designate that location since he thinks it's so lovely. He eventually removes the cement frame from the skylight after some time, but the bolts remain a problem. As he is starting to go completely insane, Nemo sees a pigeon outside on the balcony and urges it to go seek for his pals so he may ask for assistance, but the pigeon clearly ignores him. When his frustration finally gets the better of him, Nemo reaches for a marker and begins to scribble on a photo of the owner and his kid. When he goes to the closest lair to fetch some warmer clothes, he finds a secret passageway behind a fictitious wall. After making his way through the extremely small area and discovering a hidden room, he panics and flees upon discovering a body. When he returns after gathering his composure, he discovers that the doll is only a representation of the artist because the pricey self-portrait is also concealed here. Nemo removes the picture and the ancient collection of William Blake's The Marriage of Heaven and Hell that was resting on the doll. One evening, Jasmine is taking a break from smoking outside Nemo's door, and this time, she's not wearing headphones. Nemo shouts for aid and rushes to the door to smash it, but Jasmine is using the vacuum to remove the smoke, so she doesn't hear him. Nemo is unable to even slip a letter under the door due to its thickness. Nemo has an extremely surreal dream later that evening. The apartment's owner greets him with cheerful banter, and he feels like a very posh visitor at an art exhibition. When Nemo sees Jasmine close by, he pauses, and the owner whispers something in her ear, making things awkward. The proprietor then starts talking about puppets and art, which makes Nemo feel uncomfortable and chooses to leave. The following day, Nemo makes a makeshift wrench out of chair wood to loosen the bolts. Nemo continues attempting despite the wood breaking instantly, and by cutting wrench after wrench, he eventually turns the bolts little by little. When food starts to become an issue, Nemo chooses to eat the dog food and the fish in the aquarium. Even though they both taste awful, he makes himself swallow them. The state of the bathroom is much worse. He is beginning to relieve himself in the tub due to the extremely blocked toilet. Nemo also starts to sketch on the wall where he has marked the location, using beautiful but unsettling artwork to create a small altar to his predicament. As a tribute to his goal of getting away, He places each bolt that he succeeds in removing on the altar. But the madness doesn't end there. Nemo starts conversing with his imagined friends more frequently and even engages in lengthy dialogues. When Jasmine looks at a security camera one afternoon, Nemo becomes fixated on it and believes she sees him. Nemo is motivated to consume the last bit of meat in the pantry by this. He then uses a carpet to create a strange outfit and sits in front of the altar, making strange noises to mark the occasion as though he was praying. Nemo breaks a leg as he slips and falls off the scaffolding while attempting to remove the final bolt. To address it, he constructs a splint, but the agony exacerbates his insanity, and he now experiences hallucinations in which he sees images of the city lit up by fireworks and Jasmine entering the room. Even the hallucinations aren't kind to him. Jasmine approaches him closely and teases him by threatening to touch him, but she vanishes before she can. When Nemo looks in the mirror the following time, he finds that he has tooth decay and tries to treat it with a nail. He stumbles and collapses, yet it appears like the artist has assaulted him due to his hallucinations. After falling asleep, Nemo looks up at the ceiling and at last realizes what's wrong. There's a smoke detector in the room that is still on. He lights a fire in a bowl with some book pages and a magnifying lens, makes a torch out of a chair leg, and places it next to the smoke detector. This time, the sprinkler doesn't go off, but water starts to pour into every area of the home. Because the sprinklers are so powerful, nobody is informed of the situation until Nemo rushes to the door to see if anyone is approaching. Nemo scrambles to get a few paintings and hides them under the stairs to safeguard them till the sprinklers eventually cease as the rooms start to fill with water. The owner's dog and daughter appear to Nemo when he reads The Marriage of Heaven and Hell the next day as he is standing beneath the scaffolding in the snow with a hallucination. After that, he begins to recite I'm going to heaven on a hillside like a lunatic until writing a message on the wall in which he repeats art is for keeps and expresses regret for all the harm he caused, albeit emphasizing that it was necessary. Nemo discards a few pages from his notebook, emphasizing that creativity cannot exist without destruction, and then he eventually climbs the scaffold once more while continuing to sing, I'm going to heaven on a hillside. Then, as the skylight appears to be opened and he abruptly vanishes from view, it is unclear if he managed to escape or fell and was killed. The room also becomes quiet.